Hello, welcome to the show. This is Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. I'm your host, Nikki Eisenhauer, life coach and psychotherapist. And on today's episode, we're discussing the do list and the don't list. All right, y'all, I want to tell you about a new offering that I have before we get into it today. Remember that my live workshop, Mapping Your Recovery from Narcissistic Abuse, is just around the corner. Saturday, September 21st at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We're going to come together like a big college classroom online. You can be in your PJs. I'll have a cup of hot tea. You can have whatever warm morning beverage you'd like. And we're going to work on mapping your recovery from narcissistic abuse together. And I like to teach very similarly to how I run the show. I like to make heavy topics as light as they can be and help you find clarity and peace as you map where you're going in your recovery so that you can stay the course and take care of yourself. This workshop will guide you in regaining self-trust and confidence as we map recovery. When we're healing from emotional manipulation, we steady ourselves on our path. If you want to learn more, come hang out with me and don't miss the workshop. Register today at emotionalbadass.com/workshops. Use code BADASS for 20% off. Patrons can use your special 50% off code that's found in the Patreon. It's pinned for you. Come to emotionalbadass.com/workshops. September 21st, y'all. 9 a.m. Mountain Time. Can't wait to see you there. All right, on to the show. So there is not a one of you listening out there that doesn't have a mental or physical to-do list or both. The to-do list is often never ever done. Are you ever finished your to-do list? I am never finished mine, and I am constantly adding to it. We live and die by the to-do list in the West, don't we? We think of the to-do list as helpful and necessary, a tool of life. Y'all hear me talk about my Grammy all the time. She was a list maker. I have the spirit of the to-do list inside of my bones and body. It is a part of me. Many highly sensitive people and survivors of chaos learn very, very early to just plow through whatever's in front of them in life. I'm a gold medalist in terms of plowing through. I know many of you listening are too. I don't ever want to make that wrong. Trauma aside, there is a lot of resiliency in putting nose to the grindstone and moving forward despite being upset, despite being uncomfortable, despite what is wacky out there in the world. Sometimes we are tasked with pushing through in this life, pushing through despite being tired, despite being frazzled, despite being anxious. Getting out of depression is often a forcing of forward motion. And I say it to you that way because that's what got me out of depression in my life. I didn't have someone to tell me directly, you are going to have to act your way out of depression despite how you feel. I believe that from the tips of my toes to the tips of my hair, y'all. So to get out of depression, if we were depressed a lot in childhood, we have such big muscles of forcing ourselves forward, pushing through, plowing through. We've learned to move past the energies of depression, to show up for ourselves in life. Hard times, depression, grief, anxiety, these are forces that are very easy to couch lock us. When our mental health is low, when we feel like we're dragging, when life has hit us with wave after wave after wave, our own psychology will try to convince us that sleeping 4,000 hours in a row, using our bed like it's a black hole, but that's all we can do. We have had this relationship with feeling pulled into stillness, forced to lay down and rest from depression. And then we've had bursts of having to force our way forward to work, to go to school, to date, to have families, to build a life despite what has been hard. And being alive is hard. I was talking to one of my moms that works with me recently, and I was hearing about the new school year stresses and struggles, and schools are back in session this month across the entire U.S. A lot of those schools are throwing last-minute schedule changes. Some schools give parents and kids their schedules the week before school starts. I would call this an unreasonable stress, a rudeness and inconsiderateness that has been normalized because that's just kind of the way things work now. And even when that is unfair, even when that is hard, even when that is boldly just wrong, you just kind of have to accept it and roll with the punches and get as organized as possible and plow through to go from that sweet summer freedom to the structure of a school schedule. Many parents and students, teachers, college students, people going back to work, coordinating our lives, plowing through this time of year because we just have to get life done, don't we? There's so much application to being able to plow through, but we also get tired. We get depleted. And for those of us with the giant lists of doing, mile-long to-do lists, those who were parentified as children, who were just born older souls that took on more in their families or in life or in the universe, and just the way things shake out, our plowing through muscles are so big. We have to admit at a point that we're kind of like those big armed, huge muscled bodybuilder dudes. I used to see this more in my youth. Now I see the physical trainer types more balanced in their bodies. I think that's another societal thing that shifted. But when I was growing up, one of my cousins was this way. I knew lots of guys that were giant in their upper body with little bitty old bird legs. And the reason that that was a thing is because we want to lift the weights where we feel strongest. It's our comfort zone. We get into a pattern. We do what we feel strong at. And we don't like doing what we don't feel so strong at. So those big muscle guys, they keep working their upper bodies because they feel so strong, so capable. When they work their lower bodies, not so much. They feel uncomfortable, even weak, puny. And instead of working on this area more to have more balance there, to rise above these physical and emotional feelings, to change so that they can have more comfort, so often the lower body is just ignored. And if this continues, the imbalance just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, or more imbalance between those two, the top of the body and the lower body. Those of you who have giant plow through muscles, I'm going to bring back an oldie but goodie today. Y'all really liked this many years ago when I first pitched this to you. We're going to talk about the don't list. I know that your to-do list is miles long, right? Have you ever considered giving yourself a don't list and posting it on your fridge in the kitchen? Posting it on your steering wheel, posting it on your computer. This constant barrage of what you need to do, what you have to do, what you should be doing. What if the balance is also allowing a don't list? This is a very simple concept and a very simple technique. And sometimes, as highly sensitive people, that's where we show up and we make it so much harder than it needs to be. Allow your don't list to be very simple. I'm going to share mine with you. Number 1, on my don't list, you are welcome to copy, you are welcome to borrow, you are welcome to expand and use anything that I'm offering. My number 1 right now is don't overthink anything. Take that in. When I think this thought, I don't have to overthink anything. I am not overthinking. I won't overthink. It feels like an exhale. It feels like a permission to slow down. It feels like an honoring to my inner child because she learned to do that overthinking as part of the plowing through. She learned to overthink because I was around some adults that were tasked with taking care of me and they were underthinking and I compensated. So this item on my don't list honors my recovery in this way. It respects my mind and body of today in 2024 because it respects my mind, my body, and my experience when I was a very small kid and a younger woman. What would it be like if you allowed that you don't have to overthink either? How do we get to just thinking if we don't ever give ourselves the permission that we no longer need to overthink? This is more than just an idea. This is more than just a statement and a few words strung together. This is me using language and messaging to inform my physical body and my mind of what permission my wise woman wants to offer me. If I had had a more connected, emotionally intelligent, available mother, what would have happened for me as a little girl is my mother would have seen me overthinking. I overthought school. I was perfectionistic. I stressed hard on projects and turning in homework. I overthought even playing games with my sisters. I would make games way too complicated with the kids I was playing with. Had my mother been more emotionally aware and available to me, then in a natural moment, she would have noticed that and guided me otherwise. She would have called me over and said, "Hey, sweet girl, I think you're hurting your brain right now. Thinking too much. Is that how it feels?" And I'd have been able to understand more of what was happening to me, more of what I was doing. A healthy mother might have said to me, "Honey, that's enough for right now. I want you to go outside and play. And I want you to just get on your bike and let the wind in your hair and go enjoy the rest of the sunshine today. You can come back to this project. You can come back to this homework." Had I had some of that intervention, some of that kind of adult emotional guidance and interaction, I probably wouldn't have grown up overthinking. Think about my big muscle guys that I gave as an example. If my actual head got bigger when I thought, I think my head would be way too big for my body. I'd have a 700-pound head on top of my pretty tiny 5'3" female body. Imagine if we could see the size of our heads from the muscles of overthinking. If we had that sort of physical manifestation of our overthinking, I think so many of us would prioritize just learning how to think. So this is an important one on my don't list. Don't overthink anything. Number 2, don't apologize for my sensitivity. I'm going to say that one again because this is a big one for this community. Don't apologize for my sensitivity. Not out in the world when I'm walking around and something happens and I realize, yep, I really am different. I'm a highly sensitive person and 80 to 85% of the people out there are not. And that makes me different. And we can use any word there. We can embrace any word that we need to. I've been called weird. I've been called strange. I've been called odd. I've been called crazy. I can embrace any of those words if I want to. I will not apologize for my sensitivity. Not outside into the world, not to other people. And here's a biggie, you guys. Not even to myself. Part of what's been going on at my house in my personal life lately is a house is being built next door and I needed to have some work done on the deck. I have about melted down from overstimulation from sound. And I caught myself judging myself harshly. It's so easy to slide into. It doesn't matter how much I know. It doesn't matter how much I teach these concepts. It's the same for you in this way as it is for me. I will forever be working with my original programming because in times of stress, when life rubs me raw, that old programming shows up because it's what I learned and how I learned how to be in the world when I was stressed. So the stress, the rawness of constant sound, I've been hearing sometimes today it started at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. to sometimes 8 p.m. Beep, 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 beep of the machines. Now, if I was talking to any client, it'd be really easy for me to sit with that client and extend compassion, understanding. I'd break down how reasonable it is. That sound is a big deal. We know that we can torture people with repetitive sound. Actual torture. That is what prisoners of war experience, like war crimes. We do that with sound. I could give that away so easy, but in being run down raw with it, I caught myself being unkind to myself about my own sensitivity. Why are you so raw? What's wrong with you? The classic, right? Giving myself a hard time on the inside, which is the original programming I grew up with for being sensitive, particularly in a home with not a lot of sensitivity and a lot of personality disorder, dysfunction, and abuse. So on my don't list, I don't apologize for my sensitivity and I don't make it a problem. Not to other people in the world and not with myself. I want to hold my sensitivity with respect and regard. And I want to do that even if everyone in the world were to line up and give me the middle finger towards my sensitivity. This is self-care. This is self-love. This is self-respect in action. When we catch ourselves in old patterns or things that we really hoped we were past, part of this is not shaming ourselves, being even happy with ourselves. I know that's a big word. That we caught an old pattern and that we simply shift. When we know better, we do better, and we're not going to get caught up in the reality that when we're depleted, old programming can pop up. We're going to work with that with more peace, self-kindness, and groundedness. So don't apologize for my sensitivity. Number 3, don't say sorry cheaply. This is a big one, particularly for women. Trauma survivors of both sexes can definitely fall into this. There's even been skits on Saturday Night Live for many, many years about women going, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. If you do this, if you are an automatic sorrier, if you will, I want to say to you, please stop letting your sorries be cheap. We want our sorries to be expensive. We want them to be meaningful. We chip away at our own self-worth if we say I'm sorry cheaply. Again, I was depleted. I was raw. I caught myself in this mode. I didn't even really do it out loud. It's like a vibe. It's a frequency. It's a mode. When I was younger, I did it a lot. If I walked past you in the grocery, I'm sorry. I picked up a pen. I'm sorry. Walked in the room and everyone else was sitting down. Sorry. When we do this mindlessly, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Often this is a product of growing up with someone who was rageful. We learn to get into this automatic mode of I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, which is really, please don't come at me, don't hit me, please don't think poorly of me. When we continue to I'm sorry so cheaply, it's not about the thing we're saying. It's not I'm sorry that I walked in the meeting late. It becomes this psychological, I'm sorry for existing. I'm sorry I make noise sometimes. I'm sorry I'm not invisible and you had to see me. I'm sorry I exist and take up space. I'm sorry your eyeballs had to do the work of looking at me when I walked in. It is like we are apologizing for freaking existing, and it is wrong. So as a principle, I don't say sorry cheaply. And if I do, I want that sorry to be meaningful. I want to have learned a lesson. I want that I'm sorry to contain these elements. I'm sorry. I see what I did here that hurt you or wronged you. I see my mistake. I see my misstep. I'm doing some work so that I don't fall into this trap again, so that I don't hurt you again. Doesn't mean I do it perfectly. It doesn't mean, particularly with the people closest to me, my husband who shares space with me, doesn't mean I don't trip in that hole again. But it means an honest, earnest commitment to my sorry not being cheapened and it being meaningful. If this one matters to you, if this one resonates with you, I'm going to teach you a little trick here. Instead of automatically, I'm sorrying through your life, flip it to thank you. Instead of walking in the meeting and you didn't realize it already started or you were a few minutes late, instead of I'm sorry, thank you for waiting, or thank you for receiving me. If you're 5 minutes late, thank you for waiting. If you did something wrong to someone, thank you for telling me I wronged you directly. I appreciate that. You can flip all of those cheap I'm sorries, almost all of them, to thank you. Thank you for understanding I'm an imperfect human. Thank you for giving me some grace there. Thank you for giving me a chance to catch up. It's quite the muscle and quite the exercise to give yourself permission to shift to thank you. All right, number 4. This is a physical one. Don't over-caffeinate. Y'all, I love caffeine. I love it so much. If there were no negative side effects to caffeine, I would mainline caffeine. I would drink it all day long. I like the richness of it. I'm a high sensation seeking person. On every level, I like being able to play with my mood, play with my energy. Remember those old boom boxes? If you're old enough to remember those, you could adjust the bass and you could adjust the treble. You could adjust all the little sounds it could make. I like playing with caffeine that way. Years ago, I gave up coffee as a little experiment. Not all caffeine, but coffee. And I shifted to tea. And I hate to admit it, but it made a big difference. The way that coffee caffeine hits is just harder. There's no getting around it. Dr. Andrew Weil, one of my favorite integrative doctors that has a public voice, I've heard him say that it really does hit differently. Shifting to tea can be very beneficial. If we lean anxious, y'all, as highly sensitive people, please consider your relationship with caffeine. I'm not saying we have to totally eliminate it, but in the tool bag of doing what we can do to take care of ourselves, of tackling the simple things, this is a really simple thing that you can adjust. Do an experiment with it. Just dial it down. Maybe cut it in half for a month. Check in with yourself. Are you less jittery? Are you less on edge? Do you get more sleep? Do you get better sleep? For me, this is a really important one. And if I feel my caffeine intake cranking up, because it's a cycle, right? You get raw, you get depleted, we caffeinate more. Don't over-caffeinate is an important one on my don't list. All right, and the last one, I just want to do 5 today. Don't compare to others. This is the source of so much stress, so much frustration, so much kicking ourselves and our own self-worth and our own self-esteem. We don't want to compare to others. We want to compare to our own past. Healthy comparison is, how do I compare today to last month? How am I doing today versus last year? Where am I today versus 5 years ago? Where did I think I'd be when I was 15? And where am I now? When we compare to our own past, we're bringing the challenge to our own selves and our own life. Comparing to others is a terrible game. Because when we compare to others, we compare the outcome we see to where we are now. We don't factor in the difference in someone else's resources, the difference between their natural gifts and our natural gifts, their natural weaknesses, our natural weaknesses, their circumstances, their opportunities. So much is different. Don't compare to others. Bring that comparison, that drive to compare to your own self, and you will feel more empowered to be able to make changes that are for you, that are of you, instead of somebody else's situation. What do you want to put on your own don't list? What feelings come up for you when I even pitch that idea that you are allowed to look at what you don't want? Sometimes in law of attraction work, we go, no, we shouldn't pay attention to that. We just want to look at where we want to go and what we want for ourselves and look forward. I really appreciate when Abraham Hicks says, when we know what we don't want, we better know what we do want. There's a duality to this experience of life, of being a person. There's complexity balanced with simplicity. There's doing balanced with don'ting. There's wants balanced with need. We drink water and we go to the bathroom and eliminate. We are creatures that regulate ourselves, not just at the level of nervous system, not just at the level of food and water, hydration and sustenance. We regulate emotionally too. This is part of why I do this show, because this is not rocket science. It's just very few of us ever had a class on emotions and balance, on real self-care, the way that we did in math and history and science, social studies. When we feel lacking in any area, we can strengthen. I hope the muscles of the don't list help you find a strong balance in what you don't have to do anymore. And I hope that that gives you space to be able to do what's on your to-do list with a little more peace, a little more restfulness, a little more ease, and always more life. Before I close out the show, I want to do some Patreon shout outs. When you come join the Patreon community at patreon.com/emotionalbadass, you get commercial-free episodes. You get an exclusive episode that you cannot hear anywhere else, and you get a shout out. You also get big discounts to everything that we put out. I want to thank these patrons for being part of this circle. We put out a lot of support, a lot of emotional education, and Patreon people, it really feels like y'all give us support back. Patreon is how I support the team that gets the show out. Thank y'all so much for coming together for what I think of as the healthiest little corner of the internet. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Rosa, Marie, Brianna, Alicia, Tracy, Bob, Sean, Lauren, William, Barbara, and Anna. I'm an emotional badass. You are an emotional badass. And together we are where moxie meets mindful. Light and love, and I will see you right here next time for a brand new episode. Bye-bye.